Hello everybody and welcome back to the Leeds Lens. Oh my God, that was fantastic. Every single player from head to toe, from start to finish, brilliant. Yes, at times we tied in the second half, but in the first half especially, we were just fantastic. We were absolutely fantastic. The one thing of all the things that I think overshadows this performance is the determination, it's the willingness to win, it's the aggression, it's the physicality, it's everything you need to be able to stay in this division. And already, I think we've put a staple down, us and Sunderland now, that Leeds United and Sunderland, maybe not so much Burnley, but Leeds United and Sunderland are here and we're here to stay. Fantastic, absolutely fantastic performance. As I said, let's start from right at the start because yes, the ending was fantastic, but actually I thought a lot of our brilliant work was actually in the first half. I thought in the first half we were unbelievable. We get to half-time, they haven't even had a shot, Everton. And do you know what that came down to, of all things? And apologies, I've lost my voice. But do you know what that came down to, of all things? The press. The Leeds United press was outstanding tonight, especially in that first half. They just couldn't deal with the Leeds United press. It was absolutely fantastic. But not just that, like when you look at sort of what you do with the press. Like when we looked at Bielsa time, I don't want to throw shade on Bielsa because he was obviously a fantastic manager, but at times it was just Hail Mary. This was not Hail Mary at all. This was a controlled Leeds United press, but a Leeds United press that when we went, we went. And when we went aggressive, we went hard, we went fast, and we just swallowed up in the first half. Yes, in the second half, we suffered at times, but when we suffered, we didn't let our heads drop, we didn't concede a goal, we stayed in the game, and we get our moment right at the end of the game with a deflected shot into Tarkowski's arm. Definite penalty. I'm not having it any other way. That is a penalty. And I'll tell you why that's a penalty, by the way. Because he's moving his arm to stop the ball. Unless you're a goalkeeper, you can't move your arm to stop the ball. His arm is blocking a shot straight at our goal, or straight at Everton goal. Penalty all day. And yeah, fantastic. Because I do think if you look at sort of a boxing fight as an example, we would have won that on a points decision had it not ended in the way it did. But it's just brilliant to get it over the line because the amount of times Leeds United so far, already before a ball's being kicked, we've heard Leeds United definitely relegated. We've heard Leeds United, all the promoted teams are rubbish, garbage, all of them are going down. Well, Sunderland have smashed West Ham, and we have smashed Everton. And yes, we haven't smashed them result, but what chance did Everton have tonight? Name a good opportunity. They had a Tarkowski header at the back post in the last minute, and that was about it. I mean, as I said, we were absolutely splendid tonight. And I'm genuinely amazed at how good we actually were. Like, I do think there is sort of there is counter arguments to some of the stuff I'm saying, and we will go on to a few points of potential negativity in the Leeds United performance in terms of a creation side. But as I said, in terms of Leeds United being up for it tonight, I haven't seen Leeds United more up for it than I have. That's probably the most up for it game I've seen. Potentially Stoke last year, but even that game, potentially not. I think the last game, in the first half especially, the last game I thought, where we had that much intensity, where from the first whistle, Leeds United was so up for it. Do you remember what it was? Norwich 4-0. And if we're being honest, in that first half especially, it should have been. I mean, we could have actually been a few up at half time. Because yes, all right, we had. I think we had like a 0.73 XG at half time. By the way, more than Sunderland had all game against West Ham and scored 3 goals. But we did have a load of moments, and I think if we had played that performance in the Championship last year, we would have been 4 or 5-0 up at half time. It was that good. Let's get into some of your comments anyway. Stack and Tanaka might be the best KD, might be the new KDB and Rodri. Well, that's what I mean. I mean, them two, by the way. I think when I look at man of the matches, and we'll get on to that. But I think when we look at man of the matches, I think you've got to throw Tanaka in there. He was outstanding. I thought Goodmanson at left back was outstanding. I thought Tanaka was outstanding as well. I think Tanaka was probably the pick of the bunch for me because he offered defensive work, he offered attacking work. He was everywhere. But Stack, to be fair, I thought in his own right as well was absolutely brilliant. And I said Goodmanson was brilliant as well. But I thought they all chipped in tonight. We kept a clean sheet as well. Massive to get a clean sheet over the line. And I thought, as I said, I thought over the 90, we were much the better team. I did think, obviously, in the second half, I think from about the sort of 50th to about 75th minute, I thought Everton were the better team. But they didn't do much with it in that time. I think we did more with it in the first half. Like when we were good, when we were in the first half especially, I think we were better in that moment than Everton were in their moment in the second half. I thought we did more. Because we had chances. I mean, in the first half, the ball goes up to the far post, Nmecha nods it back. If Stroud could have anticipated it, we probably could have gone 1-0 up there. James had a decent chance as well. There wasn't tons of chances, but you're not going to get tons of chances. And this is why I'm so proud of the team, because they kept going. When it got tricky, we dug in, and we managed to get a moment. Obviously, in the 85th minute, we get the penalty. And Nmecha, because that was a huge moment. And by the way, we will be scrapping for points this year. There's no doubt about it. I'm not saying we're going to finish in the top 4 or anything mad, but we are going to be scrapping, there's no doubt about it. But to get these points of line in the first game especially is fantastic. Because I've listened to Connor's stream, I'm sure you're all aware of him, Leeds. He was suggesting that if you get 11 points in your first 10 games, then I think basically every single team has stayed up from that point. I know Leeds United the year they went down got 7 points in the first 3, but I mean the effort and the sort of desire to win tonight, I haven't seen that from a Leeds United team in literally years, especially in the Premier League. I mean the last 2 Premier League seasons were an absolute joke. But yeah, honestly, I'm blown away with how good it was. As I said, there is places to improve, and I do think in terms of, we do move on to the negatives slightly now, I do think there was potential negatives at times in the performance. Like I thought in the first half, as good as we were, I didn't think we made the most of the positions that we were in at times. I thought that James, especially probably on that right-hand side, at times was guilty of making the wrong decision. But as I said, and I think at times as well, our decision-making wasn't absolutely sort of as sharp as it possibly could have been. But I think the link-up between Tanaka, Goodmanson and Gnonto down that left-hand side was mesmerising at time in the first half. It was really, really strong. But I do think at times we didn't get our shots off quick enough. I think Piroe was guilty of that with a chance in the first half. I think Gnonto was guilty of that in the second half. But you've got to remember these players are players that have played in the Championship. I mean, Piroe's played in the Championship all his career. Gnonto hasn't played in the Premier League for 2 years now. You're not gonna come in and just be instantaneously climatised. I mean, unless you're Ao Tanaka, of course. But you're not going to instantly climatise to the speed of the Premier League. Because I think that's one thing we did see tonight. The speed of the Premier League is ridiculous. And Everton are not one of the best teams. And when I looked at that Everton lineup tonight, I did think we can have a go at them. And I did think we needed to probably win the game. And we have won the game. But yeah, moving on to the penalty anyway. Nmecha gets the chance. I didn't know who was going to take the penalty. Potentially it's Pascal Strout, but he has missed a few for Leeds United. Nmecha steps up. And what a penalty it was, by the way. Because Pickford, when he first hit it, by the way, I thought he was going to save it, Jordan Pickford, because he went the right way, and we know Pickford is a good penalty saver for his time at Everton. I remember him saving one against Gordon last year in a game. But we even know for England he's been a fantastic shot stopper as well, especially from penalties. And we saw him reading his notes beforehand, because I didn't think he expected Nmecha to take it. But Nmecha's the way he put it right in the corner. I mean, it was an unsavable penalty. There was nothing Pickford could do about it. Puts us 1-0 up in the 85th, and then it was about seeing the game out well. And I think when we went 1-0 up as well, something I really liked is for the first few minutes, I think we were like a bit starstruck in terms of like, wow, we've managed to get ourselves in the lead, and we just sort of sat back in. But then we managed to we actually then for the rest of the 7 minutes pretty much controlled the game, and we're being really clever, playing it long. Nmecha holding it up, keeping people involved. And then holding it up, winning fouls, getting into the corner, but at times creating chances. I mean, Stack had a decent chance in extra time as well. So I think the way we managed it from when we scored, I think after we sort of because obviously as soon as you score, you're obviously in a great position or a position where you can give it up straight away. We know that it's always an awful time to concede straight after scoring, and it's when you're most vulnerable. Everybody says that. And I think we did look at that potentially. But after we sort of climatised the fact we were winning the game, I thought the way we, especially in extra time, the way we sort of saw it out was really, really good. And that's massive, because that's going to be something that we're going to need. We're not going to be beating teams like we were in the Premier League or in the Championship last year, 4 and 5s and 6-0s. That ain't going to happen. When we're winning, we're going to have to see these games out, and it was massive tonight that we saw it out. It really, really was. But I'm just so pleased with it. But yeah, let's get on to a few notes I've written anyway. In terms of the starting 11, obviously Calvert-Lewin was missing. I thought that was slightly bizarre. I think probably what that boils down to is that Calvert-Lewin was obviously a free agent compared to other players, and I think potentially with that. That's why he didn't play, because he hasn't had a pre-season. Sorry, I'm sweating profusely, but one, it's boiling in my room. 2, I've been jumping around like a moron. No Calvert-Lewin, which was surprising and slightly disappointing, to be fair, because I thought it would have been really good for him. And the amount of crosses we put in that first half, especially from that left-hand side, I thought it could have really benefited from that. But yeah, that was slightly disappointing. But on the flip side, I think Piroe in that first half, but we don't talk about Piroe enough in terms of his link-up play. And I've sort of talked quite openly about the ability that we need a sort of front foot up striker who's going to sort of like play on the last man and that sort of thing. Whereas actually the link-up play that Piroe, I think, provided in the first half was massive. He was fantastic at linking the play. And I think actually one of the reasons in the second half we weren't as dominant on the ball was because Piroe wasn't doing as well a job as linking the play. The amount of times, though, he went into the midfield in the first half, linked the play, got it out wide, got it out to Goodmanson. A lot of the times on the first touch as well, because we know in the Premier League you don't get that time like you do in the Championship. You can't take it down and, I don't know, do a spin on it and pass it off. You've got to be quick. And he was. And he climatised well in that first half. I think in the second half we did tire at times. But as I said, we had that second wind. And when we got that second wind, we managed to get it over the line. And honestly, as I said, fantastic. Jack said in the comments, great win, Scott. Completely agree. So pleased with it. I really am. Oh yeah, I predicted before the game. I actually titled the video because obviously I was making it beforehand. I titled the video 1-0 Leeds in the hope that that was the case, and it was. I even put the correct because I had unfortunately got to make 2 thumbnails, potentially a disappointing one and a nice one. But I did think I think my heart prediction was 1-0 Leeds, and my head prediction was potentially 1-1 or even maybe Everton win. But yeah, that was I thought that Piroe was really good in the first half, and it'd be nice to see how Calvert-Lewin can get into the team as well. But obviously as well, we've got Nmecha, who is our first goal scorer in the Premier League season. I would have never thought that. Another strength I thought we had in the first half especially was set pieces. Because Everton, by the way, are one of the hardest tests you're going to get from a set piece level. They are really good at set pieces. They have been for years. It's the reason a lot of times they've stayed in the division through set pieces. And we dealt with it absolutely fine. I think they had a bit of a moment in the second half from set pieces. But in terms of dominating, I think obviously that's something we've looked at this summer. I think there's been a lot made about that sort of height that we've brought into the team. I get all that. But yeah, I thought we dealt with their set pieces really well. O'Brien had a chance, obviously, in the second half that he put over the bar from a header. But I thought Stack, especially, I know we don't want Stack on corners because he's 6'4", for goodness sake. I mean, it's like almost Harry Kane on corners. But you can see why he's on him. I mean, he does put a really good ball in, say it quietly, because he's 6'4". But there was 2 outstanding crosses in the first half. And we did make stuff of it. And as well, especially against Everton of all teams, a David Moyes Everton, who've also just been trained by Sean Dyche, to actually create chances from set pieces was massive. And I think, again, that is going to be something that is massive for Leeds United going forward in the game. Joel's put, do you think DCL playing would have helped the performance? Potentially it would have done. I think maybe his ability to hold the ball up and sort of the crosses that we put in, especially in the first half, could have. He obviously could have been on the end of them. That isn't Piroe's game. But in the same breath, I think what you get from Piroe, the ability to link the play is a sort of contrary to that. So yes, there's a positive of Calvert-Lewin in terms of I think his aerial threat. I think he's one of the best header of the balls strikers in the Premier League. I think there's no doubt about that. But in the same breath, I still think what Piroe gave us in a different capacity was really good too. The press was brilliant in the first half. Moyes managed the game well second half, but the win was the only thing that mattered. Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think obviously Moyes needed to change some half time on the Everton side point because they were awful in that second half, in that first half, should I say. I mean, they didn't even have a shot. And by the way, this just reminded me actually, since you've done that comment. Did anyone have to endure listening to Andy Hinchcliffe on Sky Sports? My word, that guy's biased. I know. I think he's got links to Everton, and I get that. But I mean, if I was Danny Mann sat next to him, or Mann sat next to him, I'd have been saying, "Mate, this is a joke." Because he actually said in the first half that Everton were managing the game well. This is the first half, by the way. In the second half, this is probably true, but in the first half, he said they were managing the game well. And they were slowing it down for Leeds United. They literally got hammered in the first half. Yes, obviously we didn't have tons of proper top-notch golden opportunities, but we were by far the better team. To say that they even were, it was like, oh, this is a solid away performance. Are you having a laugh? And in the second half, by the way, it was going on about how well Everton had dominated the ball. When he was saying that, by the way, in the first half, Leeds had 66% of the ball for a bit of quantity here. In the second half, we had We had 40% of the ball, they had 52% at this point when he said it. And he went, oh yeah, Everton are managing the game really well now. They're dominating the ball with 52% possession, mate. Oh yeah, mate, they were dominating. I mean, just the bias it to pick on a newly promoted team when you've got Everton there stinking out the gaff, who've been in the Premier League. They've never been relegated from the Premier League, but yet you're picking on the newly promoted club. I mean, do us a favour. He is terrible. I mean, I don't want to say that to a sort of a fellow pundit as such, if you want to call me a pundit, but he is terrible, isn't he? He really is. In terms of a few more negatives that I've written down, potentially, I don't want to go into too many negatives because there wasn't many. Perry's distribution was poor. I think that is a factor, and I think teams will pick up on that. I do think that is going to be a potential problem for us. His distribution, I don't think he was fantastic. One thing I would say with him in a different light is I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was fantastic, his ball handling, and we've never been used to this with Leeds. I mean, we had to pick up with Nmecha for so long. But to see a keeper just catch the ball from a corner, thank you. Thank you, Piroe, for blessing us with a keeper that can catch the ball. Oh, it's so nice. It's so chilling. It's so refreshing. It's fantastic. It's just, it's like we're playing a different sport, having a keeper that can catch the ball. That was good. But yeah, I think his distribution was potentially not fantastic. But yeah, overarching this, before I get into the player ratings, because I'm going to do that in a minute, I'm thrilled with that. He was irritating me, mate. Can't believe he praised Everton for the first half. Yeah, I know. Honestly, Hinchcliffe is how he gets a Premier League gig. There is so many good pundits now in world, even in the world. Even a lot of lads from YouTube are fantastic. A lot of pundits on YouTube. Yet you've got Andy Hinchcliffe doing it. It's honestly, it's an absolute. He is. Disgrace is too far, but he ain't got a clue, has he, Hinchcliffe? If we're being totally honest. In terms of a few more negatives potentially before we get into the player ratings, and I don't want to, as I said, I have no interest in being negative here, by the way, because it's fantastic. But if you want to pick, this is a match reaction. I'm looking at all the different angles. I thought some of the subs were slightly interesting. Aaronson coming on for, I've written down Aaronson coming on for Gnonto in the 60th minute. I don't think Aaronson did anything when he came on, if I'm being honest. He also got spun by Dewsbury Hall in the second half. And I mean, that it wasn't fantastic, if we're being totally honest. That he just isn't going to be effective in the Premier League. And then, of course, he brought on Jack Harrison instead of Ramazani as well. To be honest, with Ramazani, I do think I love Ramazani. I don't love him. I think there's an obsession with him in the fan base. I like Ramazani. I think he's a good player. I think he's better than Jack Harrison. I think he's better than Aaronson on the wing for sure. I arguably think at times he could be better than Dan James. But with Ramazani, he needs. I think he does need to find a new club, if I'm being totally honest. He's just don't want him, does he? If like Jack Harrison came on ahead of him today. I thought Jack did all right when he came on. I thought he did well actually when we were sort of holding on to the game in the last few minutes. But yeah, if he's coming on ahead of you, I mean, it's probably wraps with Ramazani in it. The other negative potentially in the second half was that I thought we were going long a bit too much. Especially, I thought it was better when we were going long with Nmecha on the pitch. He came on the 77th minute. But I thought when we were going long to Piroe, it's just not his game, and he was getting swamped up a bit by Tarkowski and Keane at times. But yeah, overall fantastic. But yeah, let's move on to player ratings then. Let's start with Perry in goal. Distribution, not ideal, so get a mark down for that. But handling, the save he made for Dewsbury Hall, Alcaraz, a really nice save. Commanding, a proper leader, clearly someone with experience who can deal with a pressure cooker situation, because it was. I wasn't worried about, honestly, if it was the 95th minute in the Premier League with Nmecha in goal and the pumping balls long like Everton were, I'd be absolutely cacking it. With him in goal, I wasn't. He was assured, and it made me assured at times. I mean, truthfully, I was a bit nervous, if we're being totally honest. But yeah, overall, I don't think he was. I thought his distribution is something that's going to need to improve, I think. I think teams will target that. But in terms of everything else about actually being a goalkeeper, before Pep Guardiola invented the sweeper keeper and the keeper that plays like a centre half, before that was invented, Perry would be outstanding. Except his distribution, he was brilliant. He can get an 8 out of 10 for me. Bogle, I thought was fantastic at right back, absolutely fantastic. Bullied, by the way, and Dye is a serious footballer, and he was better. He was better than him on the night, in my opinion. So I'll give Bogle, I'll give him a 9. I thought going forward, he was positive. I don't think he made any real mistakes at the back. There was one time when the ball came across in the second half and he shielded it so well to get Perry involved and he sweeped it up. Yeah, he was fantastic. Rodon, probably a 9 out of 10. Maybe a 10. Like, I genuinely, like, if you're giving him, or I'm giving him a 9, why am I giving him a 9 and not a 10? He didn't do anything wrong. He was fantastic tonight. The only thing potentially you could say with Rodon is because we were so good in the midfield, which I'm going to get onto in a minute, he didn't actually have to do a right lot. But then when he was called upon, obviously at centre half, I thought he was good. I'll give him a 9 because I think 10 seems a bit ridiculous. Strauch, again, don't think he did anything wrong all game. Didn't have loads to do. Distribution out from the back, really good. That's something to mention with Rodon, by the way, because we've always known that Strauch's distribution is really, really strong from the back. But Rodon tonight, I thought he slipped a few balls through into the front men really, really nicely. It wasn't just going into the midfielder in Ampadu and then him having to dictate all from there. Rodon was making them penetrable passes through, which I thought was a really nice to see. Strauch, yeah, as I said, I thought he was good. I thought he was equally really good. Goodmanson, absolutely outstanding. One of the shouts for man of the match for me. Going forward, going back on the ball as well, so tidy on the ball. He can beat a man. He's like having a winger. There's plenty of championship wingers, by the way, who are worse dribblers than he is. 100%. His crossing was really good as well. The way he linked with Gnonto and Nmecha, especially in the first half, fantastic. Defensively, absolutely sound. I didn't see anything from Alcaraz until he was moved into the middle. He was brilliant. Also to mention with Bogue, by the way, he came against Grealish, and the way Aaronson helped him out and helped him double up was fantastic as well. So that was really nice to see. Moving on to the midfield, this is where I believe we won the game. I thought we were outstanding in the midfield, and when I've talked to mates and stuff about this, I've always mentioned that Leeds United's defence for me and midfield right now is comfortably the best part of the team, and I think that showed tonight. I thought in the midfield, Stack, Tanaka, and Ampadu. These lads were brilliant. They can all get 9s, potentially knocking on 9.5. They were so good. Tanaka probably edges it for me. I'd generally give him a 9.5. I don't know what else he could have done. He was so good. Going forward, but going back, winning the ball high up, possession gain in the final third constantly. Also as well, there's times when he got played bad passes and he'd make something of it. I mean, I remember in the second half, I think maybe Goodmanson played Goodmanson or Strauch played not an amazing pass into him in the midfield, and he managed to ping one with his left foot straight up and win as a throw in the corner. And I was like, that is just class. Right foot, left foot, brilliant. Yeah, he was outstanding. Moving on then to the front line, Stack as well was brilliant. Ampadu was brilliant until he got injured. Front line, not Ramazani. Gnonto, I thought in the first half was really good as well. I thought faded slightly in the second half and at times was slightly off it in terms of, but again, he's climatised into the league. Like, this guy hasn't played in the Premier League for 2 years. The speed of it is so much quicker. You just don't get the time. Like in the second half, he had a shot that he was taking. And obviously, I think one of the lads, I can't remember who it was, nipped in and I think it might have been Dewsbury, all nipped in and clipped it away from him. But that in the Premier League, he would have got that time, in the Championship, he would have got that time to take the shot. So I'm not going to bash him too much for that. Jan James on the right-hand side, probably of the front three in the first half, the worst. Still offers loads because he offers that pacing behind, that blistering pacing behind, which is fantastic. But I think at times his decision-making isn't as clear-cut as the other two, potentially. Like Gnonto, the way he could interchange constantly with Goodmanson and Tanaka on that left-hand side, but that's going to be a real strength for us, I think, across the season. But James, I think his press was really nice. And I don't think he was bad by any means, but he wasn't probably quite as good as Gnonto. Probably give him an 8. Piroe, really, really good in the first half. Probably his second best performance for Leeds United. I genuinely think that potentially you could argue the Stoke game, he scored like 4 goals in it, but I remember him being outstanding against Norwich. And the thing with Piroe is we know he's a great finisher. Everybody knows he's a great finisher, but it's what he can do as well as the finishing that I think is really interesting. And he was strong on that as well. So yeah, fair play to him. Linked the play very well. I think I'd give him an 8. I think he was a 9 in the first half. I think he failed in the second. In terms of the subs, who came on? Let me think. Jack Harrison. decent. I'd probably give him a 7. Not on that long, but I don't think he did anything wrong. Tracked back well. Also, I rate the donation, and we won, so he can have a 7. Who else came on? Aaronson, he was probably a 5, to be fair. I don't think he was that great. Longstaff, we hardly saw. He was on for a moment. Gruev, didn't really notice him when he came on, but because I'm being nice, he can have a 7 as well. Nmecha, let's give him a 10. Nah, we can't. It's got to be Tanaka for me, man of the match. But Nmecha took his penalty so well. What a boy. Such a big moment as well, because as I said, I think we will be scrapping this season, like I said. So to get a win over the line and get 3 points on the board already is massive, because next week we've got bloody Arsenal, for goodness sake, away at the Emirates. And all right, they worked fantastic against Man United, but I'm under no illusion that that's going to be a tricky game. And then we've got Newcastle, of course, at home the week after. Let's hope Isak's still on strike for that one. But yeah, so because of them 2 next games, so important that we got the win over the line tonight, especially because the thing is as well, this is a nice situation now, because we've got these points on the board. We can now look at the transfer market, get Daniel Farke some more attackers, because I think with the extra attackers and the extra quality in the final third for some of the decision-making that I think we lacked potentially in that first half, because we dominated the midfield, but then when it got to the front line at times, I don't think we had that creation. So we had a few extra bodies to it. I think that could be massive. That really could be massive for us. Another thing with it as well, which I think is massive, and I think people probably won't talk about as much, is that this should be encouragement to players. Like we've struggled. I think we have at times struggled at attracting players this summer. But I think now, when you've got a win on the board like we have, it's such a better sort of indication that you can come to Elland Road and it's a place that we're going to stay in the league. We are going to be playing Premier League football next year. I'm not trying to get too carried away, but I think this has got to be a sort of initiative to players to go and look. We are going to get, as I said, we are going to have times where. And now looking at the rest of the transfer market, I think we just give us a better stead to attract players, is what I'm trying to say in a long, really long-winded way. So yeah, I think that is massively important for us. Defence was outstanding. Completely shut them out of the goal game. I completely agree. I thought the defence was brilliant. I mean, they didn't have a chance, did they, Everton tonight? As I said, I think we deserved the win. I know people are going. I already know what's going to happen. The narrative's going to be that we got a lucky penalty. He wasn't a lucky penalty, for goodness sake. He moved his bloody body towards the ball and it hit him there. Yes, it wasn't in an unnatural position, but you're still not a goalkeeper, pal. You can't move like that and block it with your own arm. I mean, I thought it was a penalty. Well done from a Sunderland YouTuber. Thank you very much, mate. Thank you very much. And congratulations on your win. I thought it was actually quite a similar performance between Sunderland and Everton. Obviously, you, Sunderland and Leeds. I thought you obviously got it over the line in a much more sort of. I mean, you won the game 3-0, didn't you? But I thought in terms of the way we both bossed it in midfield, I thought your midfield, Diarra, Siddiqui, etc., was obviously fantastic. And I thought our midfield was the same. And I'm glad we're not. I really am glad that we're not here to make up the numbers. Because imagine if we'd have both lost this weekend. The narrative would have been, oh, the 3 clubs are crap. They're all going down again. The amount of predictions we've seen from Premier League fans saying, all 3 are going to go down again. And it is lazy, to be honest. It is lazy because some have had fantastic recruitment. And I think Leeds are going to recruit well. But yeah, I think with Leeds now, it's important for the rest of the transfer window. Obviously, we've got Arsenal coming up. I don't want to say it's a free hit because I hate that terminology. I hate people saying it's a free hit. It seems lazy. But it's going to be tricky to get anything out of the Emirates. So now, obviously, and then we've got Newcastle, which again is going to be a tricky game. But hopefully, we'll have some more bodies in the attacking third. In the attacking, in the front line or in the attack to go on and push on now, and then hopefully we can go, and then hopefully we can go on and push on and stay in this league, because I do think, as I said, getting this win over the line now without a full strength attack, the attack will be better come the end of the transfer window. It is massive, and as I said, I think it will be an attraction. As I said, I'll say the same for Sunderland. I think it will be an attraction for Sunderland. Being able to get it over the line. Hope we both stay up. The Premier League needs us. Completely agree, mate. I completely agree. Big clubs back in the Premier League, eh? I was actually at the playoff final, mate, and I was quite pleased for you. I was sat near the Sunderland fans. But your fans are brilliant, let's be honest. But yeah, and you were fantastic at the weekend. So yeah, I agree. Hope we both stay up, because it'd be a nice change, wouldn't it? I do think the Premier League needs Sunderland and Leeds, these clubs back in the league. Let's get rid of some of these smaller clubs, Brentfords, etc. Let's get them gone, eh? And Keith Andrews, I mean, they looked poor, didn't they, at the weekend? But yeah, overall, fantastic result for Leeds United. Truly fantastic. brilliant to get it over the line. Hopefully we can get some more bodies in the attacking third. And when we next have a quote-unquote really winnable game, I think the Newcastle at home game will be a winnable game for Leeds. When we play against them, hopefully we can have some more attacking bodies as well in the team to go and compete and then really make a fist of this Premier League season. Hopefully keep Leeds United in the league, which is obviously the main aim. I'm not under any illusions after tonight. I'm still looking at it going, just stay in the league, Leeds United, this year. That's all we need to do. 17th, I'll snap your hands off still. But yeah, the signs of a really good team. Goalkeeper, massive improvement. Defence, brilliant. Midfield, brilliant. Attack, potentially still needs a bit of work, but I think work will be done. I think that, as I said, the win will help Leeds get players over the line. But yeah, Prague, get that check out. We are here to stay. Players, Okafor, look at what's happened tonight. Look at that home atmosphere. Let's get some more points. But yeah, thanks all for watching as always. First live stream. Let me know what you think of it. But yeah, thanks all for watching. And I will catch you on the next one, everybody. I am sweating profusely. But yeah, well done, Leeds United. What a way to start the Premier League season. See you all later, everyone. Bye for now, everybody. Oh, as well, there is, I think, about 18 people watching. If you could drop a like and subscribe, that will be massive as well and really helpful. Because I am trying to close in on 1,000 subscribers. So if you can help me with that, that would be brilliant. But yeah, thanks everyone for watching, and I'll catch you later, everybody. Bye for now. Bye for now.